It used to be that in church when I hear babies scream and cry, it kind of irritated me. How many of you have had that experience where babies made a lot of noise in church? It used to irritate me, but when I hear it nowadays, I just love the sound. Because they're making a joyful noise unto the Lord. And you know what? It's a good sound because you know that there's life. There's young people that are attending church. So next time you hear a baby cry in church, turn that negative thoughts into something positive.
Amen.
What better place for that baby to be, to start off growing up, going to church? I know I went to church when I was young. Some of you didn't hear this story before, but I found out from this guy that I knew him by talking to him. I met him up at camp. He supported the Young Life up in South Dakota, Rapid City. And we were talking, and then he went away, and he came back and he says, "Russell, my mom and dad took you Sunday school when you were a little boy." Like, what? That's crazy. Well, come to find out, it wasn't me, it was my older brothers. But because somebody had taken some time to take 2 Japanese boys to church on Sunday is the reason why I'm here today. And the thing is that, you might say, well, it's a small world. But the thing is, our loving Father has already planned out our lives. He knows what's going to happen. He knows the past, He knows the future. And the thing for us to understand is how to make our story part of His story. My brother texted me this picture back here. And every time I get ready to leave Hawaii, and I see my mom, in fact, it was very close that my mom, I thought we were going to lose her, but she's still kicking. 96 years old. And look at that smile. And I wish I had the other picture that she was playing Japanese, they call it hanafuda, which is flower cards. And she could play and have this competitive spirit at this age. She was on hospice before my dad got on hospice. That was October 2015, and she is still going. And she kept on saying, "Why am I still here? God, why?" And when she was in so much pain, she says, "Lord, just take me home." And it seems like there's been quite a few people lately that have said, "Why am I still here? Lord, why don't you just take me home? Why do I have to go through this pain?" People ask me that. But when I think of all the hardships that I've been through, and I think about right now where I am with a congregation that loves me, that I love, and that we have a family here that love each other. And it was so good yesterday, Friday, at the memorial service where everybody just came together like a family and pitched in to help make the memorial a success. Bringing in people from the community, like Glenn said, people that don't usually go to church to be able to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's the heart of the mom. That's the heart of God. Is that none should perish, but all come to repentance. And Mary, what does that word all mean? All. You're not married, that's right. Anyways, I wanted to share with you a couple of stories in the Bible about a couple of mothers. This first one comes from Exodus, the 2nd chapter. It says, "Now a man of the tribe of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed the child in it and put it in the reeds along the bank of the Nile. Now, you know, this is a pretty story, but put yourself in this mother's self. I didn't say shoes because I don't know if she had shoes on. Anyways, your mother, okay, and you know that Pharaoh is trying to stop the Israelites from growing so much because they were becoming numerous in the land. And so he sends out an edict to kill all the males in the Israelites' family. And so the mother loves the child so much that she's willing to preserve the life of her son. And taking the risk of putting this baby into a basket with tar, of all things, right? So it doesn't sink, and placing it in the river. But basically what she was doing is she was dedicating her baby to God, knowing that God would take care of her baby. So what happens? Well, his sister stood at the distance to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the river bank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her female slave to get it. She opened it and saw the baby, and he was crying. And she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" "Yes, go," she answered. So the girl went and got the baby's mother. Now, how convenient is that? Oh, that's just coincidence, right? You know, you see how God works all things together for good to those who are called according to his purpose. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." Get that? Huh? Not only is Pharaoh's daughter giving the baby back to she doesn't know this, back to the mother, and she's going to get paid for it. Wow. God's good. He takes care of you. So the woman took the baby, nursed him, and when the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." Another story is of another mother who does sort of the same thing, is gives her child to the Lord, just like Hannah really presented her son to the Lord. The birth of Samuel. There was a certain man from Rephaim, a Zuphite, in the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite, and he had 2 wives. Now, as you read this story, you'll realize why it wasn't really meant for men to have more than one woman. I mean, you know, man, one woman is trouble enough, right? But here he had 2 wives, and this is what happens when you have 2 wives, right? One of them was called Hannah, and the other was Peninnah. Peninnah had 2 children, but Hannah had none. Wow. Now you kind of get a concept what's happening here, right? There's always, you know, when 2 women are in the same family, there's always friction. Okay? Year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord at the Lord Almighty at Shiloh. Shiloh, which means peace, which it has been changed to Jerusalem today, where Hophni and Phinehas, the 2 sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. Now Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, you know, were Eli's sons, but they were not very good sons. So, you know, it doesn't matter how well you try to raise your kids, you know, sometimes your sons will stray away. And whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and call her sons and daughters, but to Hannah, now here's that special treatment, right? He gave a double portion because he loved her, and the Lord had closed the womb. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, the rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. And this went on year after year. When Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and could not eat. And her husband Elkanah said to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? And once they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Now Eli the priest was sitting on his chair by the doorpost of the Lord's house. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life. And no razor will ever be used on his head. Now, if you understood what this meant, no razor put his head, he was going to be a Nazarite, like John the Baptist was a Nazarite. And as she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk, and said to her, how long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine. Not so, my Lord, Hannah replied. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring my soul out to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. And Eli answered, go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. She said, may your servant find favor in your eyes. Then she went away and ate something, and her face was no longer downcasted. And early the next morning they rose and worshipped before the Lord, and then went back to their home at Ramah. And Elkanah made love to his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. So in the course of time, Hannah became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and she named him Samuel, saying, because I asked the Lord for him. And when her husband Elkanah went up with all his family to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord and to fulfill his vow, Hannah did not go. She said to her husband, after the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there always. Do what seems best to you, her husband Elkanah told her. Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord make good his word. So the woman stayed at home and nursed her son until she had weaned him. And after he was weaned, she took the boy with her, young as he was, along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. And when the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli, and she said to him, pardon me, my Lord, as surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now, I give him to the Lord. For his whole life, he will be given over to the Lord. And he worshiped the Lord there. 2 examples, just 2 examples of women in the Bible that turn your child over the care of God. How many of you want to control the situations in your family? How many of you women and men think that you can force your ideals on your child? You can train them, you can teach them, but they are an individual with their own mind, and they will make their own choices. But what I like to say to people and to myself is, you know what? You have no control over what somebody else does. And you have to give it over to the Lord. And allow the Lord to work in that person's life. Prayer. A mother's prayer. The mother has such a love for her child that she will pray night and day for a child throughout a person's whole life. That's God. God wishing that none should perish, but all come to repentance. He created the mother to have the heart of God. And so you mothers, and you fathers too, own the heart of God. Have love like God loves us. We love because He first loved us. He taught us how to love. Happy Mother's Day. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for your love.